Hi, everyone. So welcome to day 4. This is our first video of our 30-day money challenge. So when it comes to the subject of money, it can be intimidating and oftentimes that taboo subject that we don't want to discuss. We don't want to come across as naive, especially us women, or uninformed, But the fact is, you don't need a college degree in finance to effectively manage your own money in smart ways. You don't. You just need the desire and the confidence to dive in. And if you learn it along the way, that's great. You know, it comes down to 5 basic tips that you can start today to get where you want to get to. And that's what we're discussing today. Now, they are: 1, tracking your spending each month. You want to know where your hard-earned dollars are going every month. Where and how. Number 2, building and have in place an emergency fund. This is huge. It's such a blessing in your life when you have an emergency fund. Trust me on that. It comes in handy. Number 3, establish a goals budget or spending plan. 4, paying down and paying off all debt. And 5, have simple investment strategies in place, whether this is for retirement or you want to just watch the market. As a financial or money coach, my primary role is to help you mirror the money management with your individual goals and priorities. When we do this, we actually begin to consciously spend the most money on what's important to us and spend the least on what's least important to us. And you actually get to a point to where you really don't even think about it. You just, out of habit, you just do it. So let's dive in a little deeper. First, tracking your monthly spending. Now, pull bank statements and or credit card statements. Review your bank statements and credit card statements to add up your various spending categories. Now, I like to have these in 3 main groups. The 4 walls are all your essential spending items for housing, transportation, food, and utilities. This will by far be your largest group. Now, think of transportation alone. It could be, do you have a car payment? Fuel, insurance, the toll road fees, if you happen to use the toll road quite a bit. So just when I say transportation, don't just think, well, it's only my car payment. It's everything in transportation, everything in housing, your mortgage or rent payment, along with if you have, whether it's renter's insurance or homeowner's insurance. Look at everything throughout your statements. Categorize each line item. Now, the second group will be those items that are important to you. Not necessarily essential, but they have a high value for you. Things like your son's baseball lessons, something like that. The third group, this is one that I like to refer to as the fluff group. It's the stuff that we want and like, but in all honesty, could be trimmed down or perhaps even omitted, even just for a short amount of time, so that we can get our finances in order and get some of the debt paid down and paid off. Now, second is building your emergency fund. Now, over the years, we've heard recommendations to have 3 to 6 months worth of your basic living expenses saved and set aside for your emergency fund. Even if you're currently paying off debt, your cash in the emergency fund will give you the ability, and even better than that, the stability to handle whatever happens without incurring more debt or, reaching for the credit cards and going back into debt after you've worked so hard to get out. You don't want to be that hamster on the wheel to keep going around. I happen to think that your emergency fund is as important to your financial well-being as retirement is. Life is going to happen. We all know that. 2020 has definitely proved it to all of us. When it does, instead of more debt that you just have to pay for, that you're adding to it, by having an emergency fund, you do one of two things. You either don't have to pay as much, or you just pay the entire emergency off. You write a check for it and it's over and done, and you don't have to think about it. And you've not gone into debt again. So, it makes more sense to look at each individual situation when it comes to figuring out how much that you should have saved. We like to, look at how secure are you in your profession? Does your income fluctuate every month? Are you in a job where, such as a realtor, where January commissions are going to be vastly different from, say, February or June? What is your current debt, your current bank balances, your investment balances? We look at all of that. For some people, having 3 months set aside is plenty, while others, actually I have some people that even have as much as 12 months set aside. Some of that's a personal situation, and some of it is just how much you want to set aside that you feel stable. Now, the third thing is paying off debt. What we need to know here are the 2 most effective ways of paying your debt off. Now, this is consumer debt. This is not your mortgage. So this is everything but your mortgage. This is student loans, credit cards, if there are personal loans with family or friends, car payments, anything like that. One method is called the snowball method. The second is called the avalanche method. Both of these work. Personally, I like the snowball method, but there are times when the avalanche actually makes better financial sense when it comes to the numbers. So what you want to do is list all your debts except the mortgage, with the outstanding balances. The snowball method has you paying your debts from smallest balance to the largest balance in order. Now, you make minimum payments on all your debts except the smallest one. Pay as much as possible over the minimum payment on your smallest debt. Keep repeating this each month until each debt is paid in full. Now, the avalanche method works much in the same way. The difference is you pay the highest interest rate first down to the lowest interest. So instead of your outstanding balance, you're looking at your interest rates. But you make the minimum payments on all your debts except the debt with the highest interest rate. Again, pay as much as possible on the debt with the highest interest rate over and above the minimum payment until it's paid in full. Repeat, until all of them are paid. Now, let me do a screen share here and show you what I'm talking about. Okay. So we're going to look at, we have 2 auto loans, a couple of credit cards, and a student loan. And as you can see, here are our balances ranging everywhere from $3,200 up to $9,000, and with various interest rates. In my example, we have $500 available for our debt repayment. This amount right here, $50 for card number 1, $30 on the auto loan, $55 on auto loan number 2. These are all the minimum balances that are due each month. But our initial snowball, while we have used $270 or allocated $270, we still have $230 left. So what we want to do on the debt snowball is come up here to our lowest balance, which is $3,200 on this auto loan. And we're going to change this from $30 to $260. Now that's $30 the minimum, and then we have an extra $230 here. So now we've made our full we've allocated our full $500. But in essence, what we have done is we have taken this $3,200 bill, which only making minimum payments would have taken us in the neighborhood of 8 years to pay off. 8 years. In this example, taking it and paying $260 a month, making minimums everywhere else, that $3,200 is going to be paid off actually in about 14 months. So you're going to have it paid off in just a little over a year. Now, we're going to let's put this back to $30. Okay, we have our $230 extra here. And then let's change this to debt avalanche, which is we're going to pay our highest interest first. Now, our highest interest rate here is actually our largest balance. It's 13.5%. So instead of, we're going to make the minimum payment for card 1, auto loan 1 and 2, and the student loan. We're going to keep those at the minimum payment each month. But on this one right here, instead of the minimum payment of $110, we're going to increase that by $230. So we're actually going to be putting $340 if I did my math correct in my head. Aha, I did. So we're going to knock that out a lot quicker, that way, and save. In this instance, our interest rate alone is about $100 a month. So the sooner you can get that one paid off, then that's more money that you've made by not spending it on interest. Now, this spreadsheet or this debt reduction calculator is an Excel spreadsheet that's through Vertex 42. If you are unable to find it online, let me know and I will forward this to you. It comes in handy when you're playing with the numbers. Okay, so let's go back. Let's stop our screen share here. and talk about having number 4, and that is a budget. Budgets are always interesting and usually the one where sometimes I get the most pushback from. But number 4, having a budget strategy helps you lock in your goals, short-term and long-term, really. Having a spending plan, or some people like to say that it's a goals-based budget. By doing this, you incorporate everything in there that's important. Your essentials, your building a strong emergency fund, paying off debt, and saving for retirement. Now, while I'm not a huge fan of the quote unquote the cookie cutter types of budgets, this is a little different. Because it's including goals, it's including building that emergency fund. We're all different when it comes to our money, with a varied expense in our goals and our income. We're all different. So I take this into account when we're working together. Some individuals, the mindset of combining saving for the emergency fund while also paying down debt alleviates that mindset of I'm missing out on making money. I'm missing that extra $20 a month, whatever it may be. And that's okay. Looking at your budget, we determine how much you need to set aside each month. Subtract that amount from your monthly income. Whatever is left over is the amount that you have to spend for the rest of that pay period. As an example, let's say that you have a monthly take-home pay of $4,000, and I'm just going to use round numbers for us. So we have an income of $4,000. A monthly contribution to your emergency fund, because you're building it, is $600. So we're going to deduct that. Your monthly retirement contribution is $700. And you have your total that you repay to pay off that debt, excluding the house. The total debt repayment, let's say it's $875. Now, that leaves you, after that $4,000 income, that leaves you with $1,825 that's remaining to budget for essentials and such. This may take a little longer. Doing it this way may take a little longer to become debt-free. So it's purely an individual decision as to how you want to see the savings increase and your debt decrease. In all of the tracking of your spending, you want to increase your take-home pay and reduce the spending. Bottom line, that's what you want to do. Increase the take-home, decrease the spending. Now, notice in our example earlier, we had $1,825 remaining left to budget for essentials and such. That may or may not be enough for you. If it isn't enough to meet all the essentials that you have, then it becomes your job to either start looking for areas to spend less in, especially in the debt repayment area. Don't reduce your minimum payment. Never do that. But look to see if there's areas that can be changed. Now, this is something I can talk to you about. Look in the fluff category. We may need to drop some things for a little while. That's okay. It's just temporary. Or also perhaps generate some additional income with a side hustle, or is it time to have that garage sale that you've been wanting to do? So any of this, both of these work, both help. Now, fifth thing that you want to do is have in place your simple investment strategy. I am not a certified financial planner or advisor. I'm a financial or a money coach. What I can tell you, though, is to be diversified with your investing. Even though I have my retirement account strictly in mutual funds, they are all diversified, within different mutual fund types with objectives such as growth or growth in income, diversify by geography as well. I have both domestic and international funds. So with this strategy, you don't have all your eggs in one basket. If there's an area slightly higher or lower than normal, it will offset the other. It helps lessen that roller coaster feeling that you get, watching your investment balances go up and down and hope they don't do the loop to loop. You know what I mean? Now, just something I try not to do is look at my balance every day. It's not that I don't pay attention, I do, but I try really hard not to get absolutely fixated on the numbers each and every day. I'm in it for the long haul, and if something comes up, my advisor will touch base with me, which leads me to speak with your advisor or planner. If you don't understand something that they're recommending, ask them to explain it. And if you still don't understand, tell them to explain it again. Tell them, explain it to me in layman's terms that I can understand what you're talking about and why do you feel it is so important. Remember, they work for you. So if you need to ask them the same question multiple times, then ask it. Thankfully, my advisor, I think he's wonderful. I mean, he has a teacher's heart, and his attitude is very calm and pretty unshakable, or at least otherwise he's never shown it to me. So when I ask him for recommendations, or if there is something in particular that I'm just not understanding, he explains it. And if I still don't quite get it, or if I ask another question, he answers and he explains that. And he will stay with me as long as I need for him to do. That's what you want. You want it's your money. They can't do anything with it without your permission. So you want to understand what they're telling you and make an educated decision on understanding that. Okay, so these are your 5 tips in today's 30-day money challenge. I would absolutely love to know which one you're most likely to struggle with, or which one that you may already be doing. Drop a comment in the comments section below, or as we work through the 30 days together, leave your comments and questions in the private Facebook group that I have set up for us. It's Women in Money Solutions. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to hearing your feedback, reading your comments and see where you're at, even though we just started with this challenge. The most important thing is to remember this: making changes, it's not going to happen overnight. I wish it would sometimes, but it doesn't. So take your time, take a deep breath, and work these steps with me. I promise you, give me 30 days. And I'm going to space it out. So we're actually going to be working on this through the middle of February. I'm going to give us some breaks. So when we need to catch up, we can. But just make me a promise. and comment in our private Facebook group. Remember, Women in Money Solutions. 30 days from now, you will look at your money with different eyes. And I promise you, it will be worth it. So thank you again, and welcome to day 4.